Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Bundesliga show brought to you by Over the Bar. Checking in tonight for some match week 23 predictions. Looking forward to getting stuck into this. Lots of big games to come this weekend, so really looking forward to that. Sit back and enjoy along with us. Obviously, there's a few odds and bods of news that we might just quickly touch upon before we get started. Before we do get started with anything, please, if you can, smash the thumbs up on this video. Let us know your comments. Let us know your predictions. There's a few in the chat already, which is great. And subscribe to the channel. That would be absolutely fantastic. Mark, we can maybe cover it when we start talking about Bayern and Leipzig. But obviously, there's big news in the fact that Thomas Tuchel's quite clear imminent departure has been confirmed by the club, and they will be leaving at the end of this current season. Confirms the end of a rather strange relationship and an odd managerial tenure for Tuchel in general.
Yeah, definitely. It's hard to kind of give an accurate description really of how it went, but I'll say overall, to be honest, if it ended tomorrow, it'd have to go down as more of a failure in truth, because obviously it started off with that defeat against Man City in the Champions League, followed by that humbling by Freiburg at home in the cup, and then nobody would argue that they weren't lucky to win the Bundesliga last season, which probably will end up being the only title of Thomas Tuchel's tenure. Then obviously they were humbled in the Super Cup by Leipzig as well. Obviously this weekend's opponents. And by the way, the Super Cup is a big deal in Germany as well. It's not just the Mickey Mouse Cup that the Charity Shield is in England. It's a pretty big deal. A lot of clubs see it as like the second domestic trophy, really, along with the Pokal. So, and then obviously, it's not worked out in the league. 8 points behind Bayern Leverkusen this year. And, losing the first leg in the Champions League too. So they're in a real pickle, as you might say, at the minute. And it's no surprise at all that Tuchel has been effectively given his marching orders. But I guess the only reason why he's been given another few months is because there's no point sacking him really at the moment, with no replacement lined up. And, obviously everyone talking that they're going to go in for Alonso, apparently the prime candidate for the job. So it's going to be an interesting time to see who Bayern select in what is going to be an inevitable rebuild really for the Bavarians.
Yeah, absolutely. So more on that, and maybe we'll reflect a little bit on that more so on Monday, obviously pending what happens in the Bayern match. Obviously we've got a couple of teams playing at the moment in Europe as well. So Freiburg are doing some serious comeback work as we speak. The last time I had it on my phone, it was still 3-2. Hopefully that's still the case and that they can hold on against Lens. And Frankfurt would have just kicked off, Mark. So fingers crossed for our bully teams. What did you make of the Dortmund game as well?
Yeah, I thought it might be a tough one, that, because obviously PSV Eindhoven come in unbeaten as well after the crazy start to the Eredivisie league. They won 20 out of 22 games and drawn 2. So similar kind of form to what Leverkusen have put up. I thought they were probably the better team. The penalty was probably correct, I thought, although it was definitely... Hummels wasn't happy at all, but he does like to give away a penalty, doesn't he? Let's be honest. But I thought, it was a decent game, but, Dortmund didn't hit top form, but it's still a decent draw away. You'd still fancy them at home in the Signal Iduna Park to turn that leg over and make the quarterfinals.
Yeah, absolutely. Be interested to see. Obviously, we one of our regulars, BVB David. Be interested to hear your thoughts on the penalty last night. I'm sure you were less than impressed with it being given. Dortmund fans, Dortmund fans alike, have definitely got a reason to be slightly against VAR for recent decisions in Europe. There was one against Chelsea, I think, wasn't there, not too long ago. Alas, anyway, we'll get stuck into it. Loads of people putting in some their thoughts about the games. Let's get kicked off, Mark, and you're going to kick us off with the Leverkusen Mainz game on Friday night.
Yeah, so it doesn't get it looks like what should be a home banker, really, this one. But let's be honest, Mainz did get off to a win last week in the Bo Henriksen's first game in charge. It's the second time they've had new manager bounce, actually, obviously, after Jan Sievert kind of famously winning his first game against Leipzig before not winning again in his following 11 games. So Henriksen will be hoping to avoid that, because that obviously there's only 11 games left in the season as well. So that'd take them through to that. But I mean, it's a tough challenge. It really is, against this Leverkusen side. I mean, they've not played. I think this might be their first game on a Friday night since the Bayern Munich match very early in the season. So, they're not really used to playing on Friday nights this season. But yeah, it's got to be a home banker, this one. I think Mainz will do okay, but I'm still going to go for a 3-0 home win. I just think the likes of Grimaldo, Frimpong, Andrich, and even Adley, who's starting to play really well at the minute, are just going to be too much for the relegation battle. So I'm going to go for a 3-0 home win there to start us off.
Yeah, it looks like that's a pretty common theme in the chat as well. David saying 3-0. Gardy 010 has said 3-1. Yeah, so very much the consensus of a home win. So next up, Union Berlin versus Heidenheim. Yeah, tricky one to call this, because Heidenheim away from home are certainly not as impressive as they are at home. Union have, well, we talked about them on Monday's Q&A show, didn't we? And there was a question about whether they're back on track. They certainly are a lot more Union Berlin-like, and they'll be targeting this one as a massive chance to get 3 more vital points. I think it'll be a tight one, because Heidenheim have, really impressed, and they just go for it all the time. But I'll go for a score draw. I can see this being an open game, but I'll go for a 1-1, although I do think that Union will definitely target it as a big chance for 3 points.
Yeah, and then on to a Nordrhein-Westfalen derby between low-lying Gladbach and, one of the teams of the Rückrunde, Bochum, fresh from that 3-2 win over Bayern Munich last week as well. I mean, what can you say about Bochum? I mean, they've had a brilliant Rückrunde. They really have. I think they've only lost 1 game so far since we restarted in January. I think they've been brilliant. Last week was just absolutely something else. Osterhage, Lucia, Asano looks to be back to his form as well. It's just been fantastic. And then Masovic as well, I thought was brilliant in that defensive midfield role. A great understated player, the Serbian international as well. And they just don't look like a team that are going to be losing games at the minute, Bochum. And to be honest, I was very close to tipping a shock away win here, in truth. But because Bochum don't win many times away, they've only won once on the road, and that was at Darmstadt this season. I'm going to go for a score draw, but I think Bochum will be the more likely team to win this, because, I tipped Gladbach to be the shock of the kind of upturning team of the Rückrunde, but so far it's been the visitors in this game, along with Werder Bremen. They're the 2 teams that have been the most improved so far in the Rückrunde. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw again, but I wouldn't be totally shocked if Bochum nick this away from home.
Yeah, it's a big game for the home side. Gladbach, positionally, they're only just hovering above the relegation zone, and yeah, they desperately need to win that. Next one, Werder versus Darmstadt. Form dictates this one greatly. Darmstadt really just can't get in any kind of rhythm, and Werder are one of the form teams in the league, let alone anything else going against them. As you can see, they're hovering in 7th place. We talked about them and their prospects for qualifying for Europe as well this season. And so, well, obviously, if they want to do that, they need to keep on winning, and I can see them doing that. So I'm going to say I'll go 3-1 home win, I think, in this case.
Yeah, and then another game that looks, again, it's probably 3 home bankers this weekend now, the Leverkusen, Bremen, and then a lot of people will be thinking Stuttgart too. And it's hard to argue against it. I think we said a few weeks ago, didn't we, Rory, that basically Stuttgart have got to win the next 3. They had Mainz, Darmstadt, and now Köln. I didn't think either of the performances against Mainz or Darmstadt were at the very highest level we've seen from Stuttgart, but they got the wins and it's big, and they've started to form a gap as well, between them and that 5th place RB Leipzig. You just can't back against them getting another win here, to be honest. I think Köln have been improved, I like the Hubers-Szabo defensive partnership. I think Schwaber's had a good season in net as well. But it's just the goals, isn't it, for Köln? It really is. I mean, Thielmann has done quite well, actually, since moving to striker. But he still doesn't get the goals. That's the issue. He's a live wire, but yeah, he's got a bit of skill about him, but he's not really a striker. That's the issue. So I don't think it'll be an absolute hammer in this one, but I think a 2-0 home win for me here.
Yep, take 2-0. Happy days, if that's the case. Okay, so next one, the top spiel, Bayern Munich versus RB Leipzig. This is going to be a really, really interesting game. There's so many different connotations to this. Negative results for Bayern and, striking off the title race, perhaps. Leipzig obviously really involved in this top 4 race. I mean, even if Leipzig win, they're only 7 points behind Bayern, and the way things are going, who knows what can happen in that sense. This is flip of the coin for me. Really is. It's so hard to call. I'm going to be that guy and sit on the fence maybe. I'm going to say 2-2. I honestly can't pick a winner in this. Mark, you've got to give us a prediction for this one because this is a huge game.
Yeah, I really fancy Leipzig, actually. I just feel as though the writing's on the wall for Bayern. I really do. I just think, having watched the game last week, it just wasn't a performance that, befits a Bayern Munich team. And I just think Leipzig, they love playing Bayern Munich as well. Often Leipzig take the best performance in the season for the games against Bayern. And, we've seen them hammer them on the last 2 visits to the Allianz. I know Leipzig aren't in the absolute best of shape, but they do create a lot of chances. And, Openda is really becoming a very consistent goal scorer as well. And respect to him for that. And I can actually see a 3-1 away win for Leipzig here. I just think the writing, when it rains, it pours. That's what I said to Peter last week. And I just feel as though for Bayern, the writing's on the wall this season, and I'm not convinced they'll overturn the game against Lazio either, unfortunately, for the Bundesliga. I just don't see a team that is capable at the minute. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 away win. Justin agrees with me as well. He's going for Leipzig. He's a Leipzig fan, I believe, as well. So, yeah, hopefully for the Rasenballsport boys, they can deliver a big win here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to confirm, it's full-time in Freiburg. They have indeed qualified for the next round of the Europa League. So great news for Freiburg and Christian Streich. There was a really animated, second half performance and throughout extra time as well. So well done to those boys. Mark, right, we're on to Frankfurt, who are literally playing right this second. They are 23 minutes into their fixture, their home tie with Royal Saint-Gilloise, which is also finally poised on 2-2. So what is they're playing this evening going to have an impact on the match on Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. It's a big game for Frankfurt tonight. They need to get through that. And we know that this is a winnable tournament for Frankfurt, but it's a hard draw. They actually got one of the better teams. So it's going to have to be a big performance this tonight to beat Union Saint-Gilloise. But I feel as though the game on Sunday should be a little bit more straightforward, to be honest. Yeah, because I just don't fancy Wolfsburg at all at the minute, in truth. I really don't, actually. And for me, I think Frankfurt will win this despite playing tonight, even if it goes to extra time. Because, as I say, Wolfsburg are just not. I know they got a draw against BVB last week, which was a good point, but it still wasn't a performance that made me think, they're back to the best form, in truth. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 home win, because I think away from home, Wolfsburg, they just don't look in games at the minute at all. They're scraping the odd draw against teams they should be beating. But, yeah, I don't fancy Wolfsburg one bit at the minute. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 home win there.
Yeah, Wolfsburg, one of many teams who are seriously underwhelming and dropping like a stone in the league table. Right, so we've only got a couple more games to run through, and this obviously will be on Sunday afternoon. And yeah, Dortmund versus Hoffenheim. Hoffenheim, another of those teams just dropping like a stone. And yeah, Mark, we talked about Pellegrino Matarazzo's job security on Monday show, didn't we? You may be suggesting that he's under the cosh. Dortmund, of course, strong at home. I don't think they played badly midweek. A couple of chances. Donny Marlon is really hitting his straps again, which is great to see. He was such a live wire against his old club, which is great. And so, yeah, I can see this being a home victory, despite the fact that Hoffenheim are usually better away from home. Their form is just completely so far away from it, and Dortmund will, they'll get plenty of opportunities to get goals. So I'm going to say 2-0, I think. Yeah. And that's what David's saying as well. 2-0 for the home side, and that leaves us with one more game to go.
Yeah, so my Bavarian brothers, the Fuggerstädter of FC Augsburg, playing Freiburg, who are going to be exhausted. Stage 2-0 deficit there. It's a massive win for the sport club tonight. But this game against Augsburg will definitely take a back seat in my eyes. Who are going to be? This is going to be a club who are going to be all guns blazing for the Europa League now this season. I think they're very comfortable mid-table in the league of Freiburg, but I don't see them getting him back into Europe via the league. But we'll have to see how far they can go in the Europa League. Augsburg, they're always a funny one to predict because at home, I think they've been really good this season, genuinely. Like Demirovic, Mbabu, Tietz at times as well. Rex Bahai is the evergreen. And I think they're a decent team, I really do. But at the moment, they are 14th, which is, again, they're back in the usual Augsburg territory, despite, they've been as high as 9th, I think, in December or early January. So, that is a bit frustrating for them. They've gone a few weeks without a win now, and this is a game they really have to win to avoid any, getting dragged back into a fight. I don't think Freiburg have been good in the league for quite a while now, but that win today will definitely give them a push forward. But I'm still going to go for the Fuggerstädter at home to win this game, actually. I think a 2-1 home win to ease them back up towards... I still think it's possible they could get top half yet this season. It might be a bit optimistic, but that should be the aim at the minute because they've got the squad, I feel, this year. So, but I do think they'll get a good win here against Freiburg.
Yeah, interesting stuff. So, yeah, that's all 9 games. So let's just have a quick look at what the table might look like if these predictions are to come to pass. Basically, we reckon, with Leverkusen's win on Friday night, plus if I'm saying it's a draw, we're going with a 10-point lead at the end of the weekend for Leverkusen sitting pretty, with Stuttgart closing the gap onto Munich to 2 points, which is quite something. As it was, Dortmund maybe gaining a little bit more traction in the top 4 race. If we scroll down to the bottom of the table as well, it's still going to be pretty much as is for those bottom 3 sides. Gladbach maybe getting a bit of extra distance, but as you can see from 15th to 12th and even beyond, it's still really tight. So if the likes of Köln, Mainz and Darmstadt can get on a little bit of a run, all of those teams will start to be feeling the heat and the pressure, no doubt. And it looks like the biggest winners from that weekend would be Augsburg, because they'll be jumping well up into 11th place as well. So, yeah, it's so tight and condensed, as you can see. Hoffenheim, 27, 26, 26. Literally one weekend can make or break season at the moment. But we'll run with that as we go along. But that's everything for tonight. Thank you, as always, for everyone that's tuned in whilst we've been watching live. Loads of great chat. Thank you for everyone for your comments, predictions alike. Always really appreciated. We're looking forward to the weekend. So hopefully everyone enjoys it. Over to you, Mark, to formally close things up.
Yeah, definitely. So if you enjoyed what you've seen today, then remember check out our Twitter feed or X at Over the Bar FB and at Over the Bar Extra. Don't forget to follow Rory on Village Footy 20 as well. Yeah, also don't forget we're not only a YouTube channel, we're also a podcast as well. So don't forget to leave a rating and check us out on there too. And then yeah, with the YouTube stuff, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We're really happy with some of the feedback we've been getting recently. We've been getting some great comments in on the vlogs as well. Don't forget to check out the vlogs because we've had a lot of them. Also, we've had some really good shows recently with great, support from you guys too. So it's ever appreciated. You continue to follow us. Don't forget to tell your friends as well, any other Bundesliga fans, and spread the word of the greatest league in the world. So yeah. Thanks a lot, guys, for joining us again. And we'll see, Rory will see you again tomorrow, I guess, for the Fantasy Football Show. So see you then, guys. Bye-bye.